It's a pleasure today to rise to speak on our Opposition Day motion, and I really want to acknowledge the work of the member from Victoria, who has done an amazing amount of work on this file, and I want to thank him for bringing this motion forward today. It's really important that we're discussing this today because it's this Friday that the Finance Minister will be meeting with the Premiers and his provincial counterparts to have one of their meetings to discuss pension benefits under the Canada and Quebec pension plans. And it's because the Finance Minister is going there, we want to actually really urge my colleagues across the way from all parties and sideways, all parties to support this motion today to send a very, very strong message that we as parliamentarians support this position that we need to increase CPP incrementally. Now, Mr. Speaker, you're going to hear lots of horror stories, and we know that my colleagues across the way are very good at shock and awe. But the reality is that we are putting forward a plan for incremental increases to CPP, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it makes economic sense. And we have to take a look at it from the economic way. But besides looking at it economically, we have to remember that the people who draw their pensions are the ones who built this beautiful country. They have worked all their lives, and they deserve to live their retirement in dignity. And there is stark evidence that a growing number of our seniors are living well below the poverty line, and out of that, a large percentage of that population is women. I also want to commend the work done by CARP, and because they have done an amazing amount of work on this file. And, you know, Mr. Speaker, if you listen to my colleagues across the way and listen to their arguments, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, you would think that this was an idea or something that they had just heard about. But I want to draw their attention to the fact, and this is really worth paying attention to, and I want my colleagues across the way to really hear that increases to CPP is just not an NDP idea. So please don't think you have to oppose it because it just comes from the NDP. This is an idea that is supported by the provincial governments, the Canadian Labour Congress, Canada's largest retirement organisation, CARP. Wait for it, financial experts. And the Chief Executive Officer of the CIBC, Chief Actuary of the Canada Pension Plan. When you look at the diverse support for this, you really want to think, what on earth is going on in the minds of the members of the parliamentarians who would oppose modest increases to CPP that would actually lead to lifting many of our seniors out of poverty? Not only that, Mr. Speaker, but at this stage, I know I have very little time before we move on to QP. I really want us to think about something today. All this week, ever since Thursday, I should say, we have all been engulfed with emotions. And those emotions run very deep, and I would say they run across all party lines and right around the world. And often, when we have a gift called Mandela enter the world and gift us with what he gave us, let's not just stick with the name now, but what did he actually talk about? And I was reading through and I found an excerpt from his speech, one of the speeches he made. And what he said was this: like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made, and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. And overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice, It is the protection of a fundamental human right, the right to dignity and a decent life. While poverty persists, there is no true freedom. You know, Mr. Speaker, when I read those words, it kind of sent tingles down my spine. And I'm reminded that there have been so many great people who've gone before us, including our predecessors who established CPP. Look, the CPP is not one of those funds, the Canada Pension Fund, that is a very small fund. It is a huge fund, and that huge fund has massive opportunities for investment that small funds just do not have, and individuals do not have. So to me, it's leveraging a huge fund in the Canada Pension Plan with a modest increase over a number of years so that we can get the returns to lift our seniors out of poverty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I must interrupt the honourable member for Newton North Delta at this time. Time for government orders has expired. She will have 4 minutes remaining when this matter returns before the House.